Our next storyteller is Megan Aronson.
"21 people in my life died. Yes, 21 in 5 years. And still I said to myself, I can do this on my own. I don't need help. I lived with an active addict and birthed 3 children. I almost died giving birth to one of them. We changed houses 5 times, and my daughter's best friend died at age 5. And we lost our home, and I lost my job, and. Still, I said to myself, I can do this on my own. I don't need help. I kicked him out. My husband. I kicked him out after I saw with my own eyes, finally, how addiction, the beast that it is, had swallowed my husband whole and taken him over. He left, and there I was alone with 3 small children. And still, I said to myself, I can do this on my own. I don't need help. I ran myself ragged, reliving the trauma of discovering his addiction over and over again. I did do it all alone for 3 weeks, and I killed myself doing it. I ask myself now, who was I trying to prove myself to? At last, I asked for help. I asked for it in every direction, and the world seemed to say, finally, we were waiting for you to ask. Help poured in, and because of that, because of seeking and finding help for myself, from counselors to babysitters to legal advocates, somehow I survived. He survived because he went and got help too. And because of that, somehow, in spite of it all, our marriage survived. Just before baby number 4 arrived, the world caved in on me again. Illness after illness came, and then I hemorrhaged and almost died again during the birth. And then I developed a life-threatening postpartum uterine infection. And oh, by the way, did I mention I was diagnosed with postpartum depression? This time, when that voice tried to tell me I can do this on my own, I didn't listen. I talked back instead. I called my family together to a meeting in my living room on my couch, and I told them in words I could barely speak that this postpartum depression had taken me over, made me not want to live but to die. And I said those words that were so hard to say. I need help, please. And you know what they said? Okay, whatever you need. I took their help at first, but then I began to feel like a burdensome weight, like I used up my quota of loving kindness, as if there were a limit to how much I could take. So again, I said, I can do this on my own. I don't need help. I became my own doctor, took every supplement Dr. Google prescribed. I tried meditating, reading books, writing therapeutically, but all I did was dig myself a deeper hole to hide in. I had crippling anxiety, intrusive thoughts, insomnia, heart palpitations. I suspected I was suffering from PTSD, but I didn't know how or where to get help. By the time I finally went to a doctor, I was hanging on by a thread. He tried to help me, but it was too late. 1 year ago, almost exactly, I started having seizures, sometimes more than 30 a day. I just came off an episode of 9 days straight of them about a week ago. Test after test said it's not epilepsy. The doctors called them psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. my body's way of expressing the trauma of my past. They said, go get help, real professional help. And so I listened. It took everything for me to finally break down and try an antidepressant, but for me it was the right thing. And eventually anti-anxiety meds. My therapist said they were like vitamins for your brain. Getting on them was horrific, but after a few weeks I started to feel capable of life again, of hope again, and joy. And I cried, why? Why did I let myself suffer for so long? I called a psychologist and set up cognitive behavioral therapy, and we dove right in with 2 sessions a week. He encouraged me to try yoga, so I did, and my life continued to improve dramatically. I joined Al-Anon, and I found my people, a community to hold me up, while I recovered from the effects of alcoholism and addiction on my life. Then last month, 8 years after the first year of trauma, after another debilitating round of seizures, I finally asked my therapist for an official PTSD diagnosis. I knew it would be hard, but I sensed that knowledge was power. All the other times, my enemy had a face, a name: addiction, depression, anxiety. I needed to name this beast too, so I could conquer it. The enormity of my trauma was so much to witness. My therapist joked back tears again and again throughout. But each question he asked me repieced a puzzle of myself. And in the end, I felt like the last pieces of the puzzle were put into place, and I could finally see the whole picture clearly, see myself clearly, be seen and heard by one other human being clearly. And I felt relief, release, even joy and empowerment. Now, I had named the beast. It is part of who I am, but it is not who I am. It is part of why I am the way I am, but it does not have to define me. It is only one piece. Everything's always changing, and so am I. When you join a 12-step program, they say you've begun recovery. I believe that we're all always in recovery from this crazy, brutal, beautiful thing called life. And if we want to survive, the bravest thing we can ever do is ask for help. What is help? It's allowing someone in close enough to mirror me back to me. If you haven't found your people, go hunt them down. Or build a tribe of your own, because none of us were meant to do this being human thing alone. I'm here today, standing before you, because I asked for help. And even when it was difficult and I felt so alone and it was so hard, I reached out again and again. I survived postpartum depression, anxiety, my husband's addiction. He's 4 years sober. And now I am living through PTSD and seizures, and that's okay. I am and always will be a recovering everything. And isn't that a miracle? Because now that makes me a part of your community too. Thank you.